Doctor, I have a question, and it's a concern for me. Waste management is not really a business. I think that most people, especially those of our generation, would readily go into because of the filth and the prevalent social taboo involved, especially young people of our generation. So how do we, you've said so much, but how do we brave up to balance the turning of trash to treasures, looking into the prevalent social taboo involved in waste?
Thank you very much, Jackson. I think it's around narrative. There is profound power in the narrative. And that's why I said I was not going to go into the traditional discourse of waste management. I know it, we know it. But I was going to discuss the elements, what I call the enablers, to ensure that we can optimize waste management in a way that is appealing. And what was it? I said, if we do not make our actions enterprising and solutions oriented and tap into opportunities to make money, and I use charcoal, it's a $20 billion US industry. So a young person who has come out of university and there are no jobs, and you tell him or her just be carrying waste and dumping it there, that's nothing. That's a very social way and linear way of thinking. But if you say it, you can be able to tap into a $20 billion industry that is on tap as we speak today by actually turning waste to briquettes to replace charcoal, and you become a billionaire. They will jump to it because they are looking from the enterprising dimension and the revenue economic return of what they will do. How many times have you heard that narrative from an economic perspective and from an enterprise perspective for you to create their own enterprises, form teams and create enterprises and become CEOs in turning waste to wealth from tapping into the 20 billion? You will definitely say very, very few times, right? What does that mean? Our narrative is about complaining in the continent. Our narrative is about white-collar job, that if I have a PhD and I am not having a job in the ministry or a director of service elsewhere, then I cannot do anything else. We have forgotten that we sit on wealth as we complain. And therefore, the narrative must be your solutions to the problems, that a challenge is a disguised opportunity. Waste, though it's waste, and as you rightly call it, a social taboo that they've made to see that it is dirty, is actually disguised wealth. But unless you dirty your hands, you might not have that wealth. Just like gold. But people dig down there to get the gold as they dirty their hands, but they get the gold. So waste is gold, especially for the youth. So the narrative must change. We cannot use classical narratives that have failed to move an inch and continue with it thinking that will make a change. So waste to wealth cannot just be talked from waste to wealth, but it must be talked on the outcome of it. Take the 20 billion charcoal industry, replacing it with briquettes made from agricultural waste. It can actually employ all the youth in the continent. How will it employ? Let the youth be encouraged and inspired. And that's what we're doing with innovative volunteerism. So the waste to wealth narrative needs to change from just taking away waste from our environment to actually tapping to opportunities that are disguised opportunities. And a clear example is the 20 billion charcoal industry that we need to turn to tap into it using the briquette approach. So we can replace the pressure and the destruction of our forests by focusing on briquettes and also by fertilizer. Do you know how much countries' foreign reserves are depreciated each and every year? If you take Nigeria, for example, Nigeria spent over $1 billion in importing chemicalized fertilizers. What if you tap into turning agricultural waste to biofertilizers? It will not just be serving the environment, but it will be tapping into an opportunity to make $1 billion US each and every year. These opportunities are real and they're practical. And that is the way to go, by changing the narrative and actually showcasing the opportunities practically.